Next,
you do take care of this. I don't know this.
Okay.
next, maybe Russian. Can you come to the main room and quick announcement?
192 so far.
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you. Spanish? Can you come? Yeah, now we can hear. Yes. Nathan, go ahead and post on Facebook the link. Now Vietnamese. Okay, thank you, everybody. We today the interpretation of the various languages will be done as simultaneous, so that we Rinpoche will not be pausing. So we are going to start with the usual opening recitations. Javier, if you can share screen of the usual opening recitations, that will be good. So since we have everyone here as we prepare the share screen, I want to make an announcement that sometime soon, we think sometime in July, Khenchen Rinpoche is going to give a series on Gampopa's jewel ornament. And as you all know, this is a very important central text for Dharma practice, whereby a very systematic overview of the entire path is laid out very clearly. So Rinpoche is going to take, we estimate, 2 classes per chapter, roughly speaking. Some chapters are shorter, some chapters are longer. What we are estimating 2 classes per chapter, so it will be 42 classes thereabouts. And this will be the essence of the jewel ornament, not line by line, but the essence of the jewel ornament, which will be a precious opportunity. And we think this is going to happen on Thursday and Sunday mornings. So we're going to be sending out information once we have worked out all the details. So if you have registered for this Bodhisattva Vow event, then you are on our list, and we will send that information out once we have figured out the schedule and when this is happening and all of that. For those of you who don't know, Khenchen Rinpoche has translated the jewel ornament a number of years back. It remains as one of the main English sources for those who don't read Tibetan to be able to have access to this text, the jewel ornament of liberation by Gampopa. So stay tuned for that. So we're going to begin. Yes, Rinpoche.
Sangye Choda.
Sangye Chodan. Okay.
Yes, from there.
Javier, can you go to refuge? We'll do refuge. And then we'll do the four immeasurable minds.
Yes.
So refuge is on. Those of you who are at the temple, we have a number of people at the temple here. About 15 of us at the temple. So if you're at the temple, it starts with page 5. So we're going to recite this in English together. So that there is no feedback. Temporarily, I am going to Javier, can you temporarily mute Rinpoche so that there's no feedback of sounds? In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, most excellent, I take refuge until Bodhi is reached by the merit of generosity and other perfections. I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all wandering beings in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, most excellent. I take refuge until Bodhi is reached by the merit of generosity and other perfections. May I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all wandering beings in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, most excellent. I take refuge until Bodhi is reached by the merit of generosity and other perfections. Attain Buddhahood for the sake of all wandering beings. May all mother sentient beings as the sky have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from the bias of attachment and aversion. May all mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that's free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from the bias of attachment and aversion. May all mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from the bias of attachment and aversion. Okay. Rinpoche, if you can unmute yourself now, then the rest of us will mute ourselves. Javier, you can stop sharing screen.
Okay. Okay. So on those as we are generally studying, practicing the Buddha Dharma, the wisdom of the Buddha that we reflect in our life. And as many of you know the Buddha's teaching and who was Buddha, all this, and we all in the world, everybody, regardless who they are, human beings and even animals, birds, insects, from the innate of the mind, we desire for peace and happiness. It's common. And we desire to free from suffering. No, there's no question about that. No. Now, because of that, as you know, Buddha taught first the Four Noble Truths. So the suffering that we don't want, that we don't desire for, Buddha said, you should know the suffering. Because when we don't know about the suffering, the depth of the suffering, mostly we think about suffering means that the obvious physical and mental suffering. We don't contemplate what really the complexity nature of the suffering. So Buddha introduced about the suffering. As now I usually repeat this all the time, and that's what Buddha taught. There is called suffering of suffering, obvious physical, mental suffering. And there is called suffering of change, means our temporary peace and happiness, that what we desire for, that we want to have that, but that doesn't last long. That changes, is impermanent. So since it is changing, when it changes, we don't like it. So to secure that, then there's a lot of the method how to secure that. In an obvious, it is called insurance, like the car insurance, health insurance, all those things to secure our temporary peace and happiness. But at the end, that doesn't last long as well. So Buddha said we should understand about that suffering. So don't attach too much that. Then there's third type of suffering is called the condition of suffering, the pervasive suffering. That's very profound. We need special wisdom to penetrate that. As long as when we have mental confusion, mental bewilderment, ignorance, and then from there we create the cause. So the cause created from the mental afflictions, confusion, and that makes the condition of suffering. So as long as we have that mental confusion, afflictions, and the karma we create, and the suffering is sooner or later we will experience. So Buddha said you should know about that suffering. So there's mention, it's a very complex subject. So Buddha said you should know the suffering. This is what it's about. It's not enough say suffering is bad, bad, bad. No. But what we not desire for, so we have to have the wisdom how to handle that, how to get rid of that. So then Buddha next, the truth is teaching the cause, the origin of suffering. We should avoid the cause of suffering, kunjung, that all the suffering was coming from. So this is not something for Buddhists, but actually this message is for everybody, entire sentient beings. No, it's not a Buddhism, it's a universal reality, nature. So look at in the world, everybody making so much now things to overcome the suffering. Just look at the science, technologies. This all designed to overcome the suffering, to free from suffering. But it's all we're just creating outside. We're just expecting from outside to bring happiness, peace to our life without looking inside the mind, how to relate to that. So Buddha's teaching is a teaching to the mind. The mind is very complex, very ambiguous. It's not a matter, it's a consciousness. It's a consciousness that has no color, no form, see, no shape to see. It is so, when you investigate, it's like, like onion, peeling the onion. When you peel the onion, so one after another, at the end, you don't find it. But at the same time, there's an onion. Like that, look at the mind. The mind is, when you look at it, you cannot find anywhere, but at the same time, it's there. So it's a lot of modern great scientists are frustrated on that because you cannot find through the machine. They use such a sophisticated machine to find the mind and cannot find it from that. But at the same time, there is mind. But so there's what evidence you have, there's a mind. So mind is more than brain. You see, brain is just a piece of flesh. Mind is much bigger. Oh, it's like a space. There is a space, but you cannot see the space. You see, it has no color, no shape, nothing, but there is space. So likewise in the mind is like that. So for us, it's very important as a Dharma practitioner, how to read the mind. Look at the mind, which brings the more suffering, which brings the peace and happiness. So, even though you may have such a luxurious life physically. No, physically you may have, but mentally so unhappy. Why? See, you have such delicious food to eat, but feels miserable. Why? You know, I'm not saying it's all a bad thing, but just look at the reality nature. Then, no, everything is changing. We know it's impermanent. We don't like it, but no choice. You know, when you are young, healthy, physically fit, all these things doesn't last long. We age, we get sick, finally die, and we don't like it. We don't like that. No, we don't like to age. We want to keep as young as possible. we like to stay fresh life, for many years. Those who have conditions, but have no choice. So these all you see that's why everything changes. Look at these and the mind, how the mind can relate to this in the best way. That's called wisdom. We need a wisdom which makes sense. No, it's not as a Buddhism, not as like this Buddhists believe this. No, it's not that. So we need such a mental capacity to capture this message. Otherwise, we are besotted. We are totally besotted with our confusion. And then difficult to handle that. So mind, wisdom mind, enlightened mind, unenlightened mind is the same. It's very sophisticated. First, with the ignorance, you made a mistake, just for example. And at the second moment, you understood you made the mistake. It's the same mind who made the mistake, the mind, and then who understood what mistake we made. There's no two mind. So it's neither one nor two. You see, it's called like a coin, two sides of the coin. See. So when you enlighten yourself, then you know what you made mistake, because you're same mind. When you are not enlightened, then we make a mess, make a cause of suffering, and we just go underneath that, and we suffer. So Buddha's teaching is this. See, this wisdom is so profound, unfathomable wisdom, vast. That's because the quality of the mind. Mind is very vast. Mind is so profound. To comprehend that complexity of the mind, Buddha taught these teachings. It's not just enough. It's not just enough. Say, be kind, be nice. So of course, it's very important from the start. But Buddha's teachings more than that. How to be kind to yourself, to all others. The reason because, just as I mentioned, we all desire peace and happiness. Even animals, small insects, birds, tigers, leopards, those monsters, they also desire for peace and happiness. See? And nobody desires the suffering. It's universal. Therefore, Buddha taught the practice of loving kindness, compassion. It's not just because you believe love and compassion, but it's because of the require. Everybody survives because of the love and compassion. In the family, look at the family, the father and the mother, they take care of their children. No? With love and compassion. Then see they grow, the children grow strong, physically, mentally, healthy. Those who are grown under such a hardship, no love, no compassion, is so paranoid. So the mind is so disturbed, you see. It is the reality nature. Now if you ask, what is that? No. What's the secret of that? We call Buddha nature, or it is called the total goodness, basic goodness. Because when you look at all these manifestations that you see, physically, mentally, when you come down to the end, it's called emptiness. So emptiness is not a Buddhist belief. It's not a Buddhist philosophy. Emptiness is the reality nature of the phenomena. So here, emptiness doesn't mean just mere empty. Means when all the mental afflictions, the mental disturbances dissolve, then there's this emptiness. And there's a great peace. Such great peace is there. So everything is manifestation of the emptiness. They dissolve into emptiness, manifest from emptiness. See, look at this. So that's why when all the mental disturbances, mental afflictions, they are reduced, like a bubble. When the water is a lot of bubble, they are coming. The bubble comes from the water and dissolves into the water. So the bubble of the mental afflictions manifests from the mind and it dissolves into the mind itself. Then there's a great peace. When there's a great peace, then there's a great joy. That joy is called unafflicted joy, unafflicted peace. Then there's a special insight. See, you see things precisely. Insight. So that insight comes from the great peace and joy. So when you have that peace, then from that peace, when there's a special insight, then there's a liberation. We liberate from this delusion, mental affliction. So that's what we can say, the enlightenment. So it's all first is depend on many causes and conditions. But at the end, that all causes and conditions dissolves into emptiness. That's called unfabricated. Uncreated. The reality nature as it is. So that is the goal of this meditation practice. So today we have this special text compiled by His Holiness Khenchen Konchog Gyaltshen Rinpoché, and those commentaries are in the Diamond Rosary. If you know the book, Diamond Rosary, there's a section, Love, Compassion, Bodhisattva. In that you'll find exactly the same sadhana or same kind of the ritual with a lot of commentaries. Is put together. So bodhicitta, you see, is to open the, as mentioned, to open our mind is so confined. Our mind is so confined within our ego grasping. Like a shell, a fish which is in the shell has no space, trapped there. So our mind is just trapped in that, confined in the shell of the self-grasping. So bodhicitta is a method to free from that, to see the unconfined mind, vastness like the space. It's very important that to see that nature. So bodhicitta is to, as I mentioned, we are completely besotted with our confusion. So we need to free from that. So bodhicitta mind, mind is to free the mind, make our mind as it is, not as an artificial, not as a contrived. All these dualities, dualistic thoughts, like, dislike, good, bad, all these are duality. We are trapped with that, within that, and we suffer within that. Everywhere you see, doesn't matter what religion you believe, or there's those who don't believe in a religion. Also, we are trapped within that, confined, within the duality. So here's the teaching, it helps us to free from that boundary. So that we don't have much time, time is running in. So there are 4 contributory causes to cultivate bodhicitta. First, the primary cause. The primary cause is the seed of the as it is, tata kata karma. And then we need to awaken that mind, we need these contributory causes. So contributory causes is, you see, first you have to visualize the Buddha. Buddha as your teacher. You see this, everybody knows Buddha, historical Buddha, who taught the Dharma teachings over 2,600 years ago. So that we have to look at the Buddha, an enlightened being, totally awakened his own mind, totally free from all the boundaries. He emerged as the nature of the space. So that is we have to see as a teacher. The Buddha as your teacher, that's the one first important. The Buddha sits on the throne, lion throne, with all the perfect. Since we are not enlightened yet, so we have to see the Buddha physical, the physical Buddha, the 32 major marks, 80 minor marks, the perfection of his physical body. And here's the 10 power, 4 fearlessnesses, qualities, and 18 unmatched qualities. So this is called 32 mental qualities, that which makes the Buddha not as something substantial. It's insubstantial, like a rainbow body. You can see it, but there's nothing to touch. That's the first contributory cause. Then next, we have to have in front of the Buddha. Then we have to accumulate great merit. As mentioned, it's not just mere empty. Everything now comes together due to accumulation. When there comes a suffering, there's a lot of causes of suffering that come together, and that brings the suffering. Suffering doesn't come without cause, without condition. Suffering comes from the causes and conditions. Likewise, our peace and happiness, we have to have great accumulations. That's called accumulation of merit, accumulation of wisdom. So in front of the Buddha, then that we visualize Buddha as an enlightened, and say, this is my teacher, this is my guru. Then we physically do prostration, verbally then say the prayers, and then make offerings, offering all that exists in the world, including your body, speech, mind. With one pointed, we just make offering to the Buddha, totally. And that's offering the accumulation of merit. We want to collect ourselves. I want this, I need this, I that, this, all collections. It's because of our self-cherishing. Now this, all things we make offering to Buddha. It's a way to purify our self-grasping, self-cherishing. And see, self-cherishing. And this offering, make this offering as an illusory nature, just a manifestation. You see, as I mentioned, everything is just manifestation. Look at the expensive, building. Very good, you say very good quality, very expensive building. But if you investigate, it's just all collections of the dust particle. All those dust particles you just put together and then made a big mansion, palace, say, This is all relative. In the conventional state, these all are designed. But in here, so like this, all you make offering to Buddha to release our attachment. It's a pernicious attachment. Purify that. It's accumulation of merit. Then seeing everything is just a manifestation. It's all like a magic show. Nothing exists as is independently. It's accumulation of wisdom. Because from the wisdom, we see this. You make offering your body, speech, mind, make offering to Buddha totally. From today, I serve the Buddha, means I serve all sentient beings. Meditate on this. It's called offerings. Then next, confession, purification. Through our mental delusions, mental afflictions, we made a lot of mistakes. Maybe you haven't made it consciously, but through the ignorance, through our delusions, we make a lot of mistakes. And these mistakes, not just only ourselves, but also by all other sentient beings. So we purify all those mistakes that I made through the non-virtuous action, non-virtuous thought. Today, in front of Buddha, I purify without any exception, without any kind of, reservation, totally release. It's such a precious method. You see, sometimes I made a mistake. Now what should I do? Then you feel so bad. I did it unconsciously. It was not good. Then we just suffer. So there, we just with strong confidence, devotion, understanding as reality nature, just purify. So then I will never repeat. I will not repeat again this mistake. I will follow the path. So it's not just a religious training. It is a training of the mind to purify our arrogance, our confusion, and follow the path. Become a better human beings. Bring more peace and happiness. Basically, our mental afflictions, we have, these three portions called, the attachment, desire, the anger, aversion, the ignorance. They occupied our mind. They occupied our clarity of the mind. Our nature of the mind is clear, but that clear mind is surrounded by these mental afflictions. They do nothing except bringing suffering, creating the suffering to us. Nobody can make suffering from outside as bad as these mental afflictions that we have in our mind. And we're so habituated within that. We are ingrained these mental afflictions. So we need to purify them. And in front of the Buddha, so I purify. All the mistakes that I made in the past, I purify. That mental afflictions that I have, I purify. Not only mine, but all the sentient beings who are suffering. There are some who are creating such a great cause of suffering. You see, making wars, killing people. It's because out of confusion, out of self-grasping, self-cherishing. And then suffering is immense, you see. So Buddha's teaching is how to free from this, you see. It's not a religion. It's not something you believe or not believe. It's reality nature. Get rid of all the cause of suffering. And it's very sophisticated, very complex, you see. So this wisdom that we're practicing, so we purifying all this. I will never repeat again. So that's called practice, you see. First, we should know, understand it, then follow the path, see, step by step. See, so that's called purification. Next is rejoicing. Rejoice means rejoice all the excellent qualities of the Buddha. How much Buddha served the sentient beings. So look at this during this 200 over 60,000 years. The Buddha's wisdom served so many people. Wherever the Buddha's teaching goes, any places, it brings the message of the Buddha. Love, compassion, bodhicitta, wisdom. No, avoid the non-virtues, develop the virtues. See, only bring these messages. You know, so rejoice all that. And anybody who does something good, rejoice. Doesn't matter they are Buddhist or non-Buddhist. If anybody is doing something good, rejoice. So what a wonderful. I will progress from that. I will take that example and practice the Dharma. See, rejoicing is such a precious thing. It's antidote of the jealous. If somebody is doing something good, instead of being jealous, rejoice. Even though you don't like that person, but if that person is doing something good, rejoice. Wonderful. So that slows down our ego, our attachment, and bring the peace in the world, wherever you are. Start from there. Start from where you are there, bring the peace. And then first establish in your mind. And then, progress step by step. It's called rejoice. Rejoice in the achievement of the enlightenment, Buddhahood. Rejoice when there's Dharma teachings. Get wisdom. So that's called rejoicing. And then requesting to turn to wheel of teaching. This is such important. Those who prepared to request the teachings, like here, our Dojo Lobin today arranged this our program this year. So precious, means to turn the Dharma teachings, to bring the wisdom of the Buddha, the courage. Buddha's teaching is not just for weak person, but actually it's for the courageous person who has a great courage based on the wisdom. Then it brings the peace in the world. Sometimes people think Buddhism is very weak religion. Be kind, be nice, practice love, compassion. If somebody hits you on your head, be kind. So you are so weak. But in reality, it's no fear. You study, practice the fearlessness on the base of wisdom. Not fearlessness out of arrogance, but fearlessness within the framework of the wisdom. So therefore, as mentioned, the emptiness, emptiness is not just mere empty. When you realize emptiness in your heart, the self-grasping is not exist. Everything is just a manifestation. Then there's nothing to be feared. Great Bodhisattvas, even they go to the hell realm, they have no fear because of they realize the emptiness of the wisdom. So, that emptiness is endowed with a great compassion. It's called unafflicted compassion. That unafflicted compassion is realized through the realization of the emptiness. And then to help the sentient beings, there's no fear. So great Bodhisattvas, they have no fear to help sentient beings. Even they have to go to the hell realm, they have no fear. This is just an example. So that kind of teaching, please turn the wisdom. Please give us the wisdom of the Buddha. That's the requesting the turning of the wheel of the Dharma. And then there are Bodhisattvas, Buddha, who prepare to take the parinirvana, who passed, So we are requesting, please remain with us until the end of the samsara, until all sentient beings free from this suffering. Please remain with us. That is reminding to ourselves, everything is impermanent. I have this precious human life, but this will not last long. I have to use this precious human life as best as possible to cultivate bodhicitta. So that's requesting, beseeching not to take parinirvana. And then the seventh one is called dedication. So all the merit, all the virtue, all the Dharma practices, or anything that you have done, good thing, that all good things, just dedicate towards the enlightenment. Don't dedicate in a way, say, I may free from this sickness, So don't dedicate this, my business will be successful, Okay. Why do we do that? I give you this much money, so please pray for my good business, That's very kind of, say, limited, it's attachment. But here we dedicate, may every sentient beings attain the enlightenment. This by my meditation session that I have done, even 1 hour, 2 hours, 1 day, is all that merit, virtue, good qualities that I have accumulated. I bring together, this all bring together and dedicate towards the enlightenment, Buddhahood, for every sentient beings, including my enemies. May my enemies, they're free from suffering. They may free from all their mental afflictions. So this is called, 7 branches of this practice. They're so precious. Dorje,
Yes, Rinpoche.
we may not have time to say this prayer, isn't it? So it's okay.
It's up to you, Rinpoche. We have time.
The time, in that case, maybe we first visualize the Buddha, and then we maybe chant this in English.
This the long Yenla Dumpa, you mean?
Senior Soda Chojo Jigdena, that in English.
Yeah. Okay, sure. So Javier, if you can share screen again, page 15 of the opening recitations. Those of you in the temple, it's on page 15. And Javier will share. Share screen. And then if Linda, you can help us mute Rinpoche for now so that there's no feedback. In all the worlds of the 10 directions reside Tathagatas of the 3 times before each of you, lions among humans, I prostrate, who live with body, speech, and mind by the power of this aspiration to know Bodhis, all conquerors appear vividly in my mind, with as many bodies as there are atoms on all lands. I prostrate you conquerors in each atom of Buddhas, numberless as atoms, all in the midst of the heirs of the Buddhas. I conceive of this Dharma Dhatu as completely filled with you, conquerors, in this way, with infinite of praise and oceans of diverse melodies. I sing the excellent qualities of all you conquerors and praise all of you come to bliss. Flowers and best garlands, best music, ointments, and excellent parasols, finest lamps, superior incense, I offer to you, conquerors. Fragrance and sandalwood powder heap high as Mount Meru, all wondrous offerings perfectly arranged I offer. Conquerors, these vast and unequal offerings to each and every one of you, conquerors, with the power, conviction, and noble deeds, I prostrate and offer to all you conquerors all the deeds that I have done with my body, speech, and mind under the power of desire, hatred, and ignorance. Each and every one of them I rejoice in all the meritorious deeds of all conquerors in the 10 directions. Heirs of the Buddha, solitary realizers, here still in training and beyond. Wandering beings, you who are lamps of the rolls of the 10 directions, who have unobstructedly attained stages of Bodhi, all you who are my protectors, please turn the unexcelled wheel of Dharma with palms together. We beseech you who may intend to manifest final nirvana, please remain for as many eons atoms in the world for the happiness and well-being of all wandering beings. Virtue that may have been gathered through prostrating, offering, confessing, rejoicing, requesting, and beseeching, I now dedicate to complete Bodhi. If you have petals of flowers, you can offer some now. Some of it, not all of it. We have more. many stages. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Now, the third contributory cause is the practice of loving kindness, compassion, as I mentioned briefly, we start with our mother. In the teachings, look at the jewel ornament of liberation. Our life started from our mother giving birth. How much she sacrificed for our benefit to sustain this life. Now, like the same, every sentient beings, even the birds, insects, how the bird, the mother, hatches her egg. So it is something universal. It's not a Buddhist, but Buddha taught that as a capital, then expand to all. Because our love and compassion is very limited in the samsara, I'm saying. In our samsara, we have love and compassion to our family. It's emotional. But still, there is still a source of happiness, source of peace, you see. We cannot sustain with anger, with the hatred, with the beating each other. We sustain our life, even our family, with the love and the compassion. It's very limited, but still. So Buddha took that as a capital and then taught how to expand to all sentient beings. All this temporary, deluded mental manifestations. So Buddha gave us wisdom how to sort out, how to get rid of them. That what we don't need, these mental afflictions that we have, something like a very kind of natural. People think to get rid of the mental affliction is not possible. But Buddha taught such all the mental afflictions are called adventitious obscuration. They can be purified. It may take time, but they are just impermanent, temporary. Even though they are so deeply rooted in our being, in our mind, something you feel is impossible. But when you have the wisdom, when you have the courage, you can take care. You can purify. It may take many lives, life after life, but still you can make it. So that's the courage. So Buddha's teaching that we're starting practice is not a weak, it's such a courageous practice. Need such great courage. It's called indomitable courage. Nobody can beat it. See, when you have that kind of courage, we can make it. A weak person cannot practice Dharma so well. They may practice for a few years, then they say, it's not possible, I'm not interested. Because our mental afflictions manifesting one after another, stronger. More you know, more mental afflictions comes. That is, this is impossible, And then the suffer. Sometimes we ignore it. So this is what practice of loving kindness, compassion. First, you see, first start with that. Loving kindness means you desire everybody to have peace and happiness. And if possible, you can provide that peace and happiness to others. At least not harm, help. See, so loving kindness, we start. We're not going to go around outside the wall, but first you start where you are. You start from your cushion, where you are sitting there, from your place. Just meditate. Look to the person who is heading you. You practice loving kindness to that person. May that person have all the peace and happiness. Then to all the other sentient beings. And the compassion as well. Look at the suffering in the world nowadays. There's so much suffering, physically, emotionally, It's very clear the war is taking place, How many people are suffering? All their houses are destroyed. Such a great suffering there. What we can do? So practice the compassion, the place where you are. May all this free from suffering. Those who engage to destroy that, practice in compassion to all. Those who are suffering, those who are creating the cause of suffering. So that's called, and not a bias. Without bias, practice the compassion to all. So you can help more. First, we start from there. Now, what's the best? To have all the peace and happiness and to free from the suffering is to achieve the Buddhahood. So for that, we cultivate Bodhisattva. But first, we practice this loving kindness, compassion. Our life is survived because of others. Like you see, when I have a bowl of porridge in the morning as a breakfast, I contemplate this bowl of porridge or piece of bread is come from other people. Starting from the farmer. The farmer worked so hard to cultivate this grain. And then the agent, they brought to the store. And from the store, and then the people there, they make the bread or the grain. And then I got it. So it involves so many people. Just one piece of bread. So many people are involved in that. So it's because of this arrangement, their hard work. I'm eating a piece of bread or a bowl of porridge. So I'm so grateful, everyone. Whether I know or don't know, but because of their effort. So all my peace and happiness is because of all the people in the world. So Buddha came to know this and talk this way. sending the message to all others. So we purify. This will help us how to appreciate. We appreciate all the people in the war, directly involved, indirectly involved. Especially without the sentient beings, we cannot practice loving kindness. Because of the sentient beings out there, including your family, we practice loving kindness. I cannot practice loving kindness to the piece of rock or piece of woods. See? So sentient beings are indispensable as an object, as a condition to practice my loving kindness and compassion. See? So how sentient beings are so important. So Buddha, when he attained the Buddhahood, you see, his heart goes to the sentient beings who are suffering. Here I'm enlightened. I become Buddha, free from all the suffering. And because of sentient beings, I practice bodhicitta, loving kindness, compassion, and I purify all my obscurations. I'm in a very good place now. But what about the sentient beings? So with such great compassion, Buddha shared the wisdom to us in the world. No, I'm not teaching you how I am important. I'm not teaching you how to believe me or worship me, but I'm teaching you the wisdom, how yourself to free from the suffering. You are suffering so much because your heart, your pure heart, is surrounded by this confusion. So you need to take care of that. Purify your mental obscurations. You need to delete all these adventitious obscurations that which surrounded in our heart. Purify those. So that's it is, you see, practice of say, loving kindness, compassion to all the sentient beings. Then we have a joy when others have peace and happiness. And then that slowly pervade that mind to all others. Those who you know, those you don't know, those who hate you, those who love you, you try to practice equally to all without bias. In your heart, where you are, maybe not so easy, but we can do it. If you practice this day after day, year after year, you can see the difference. So precious. Yeah. We have said this prayer, but we want to say this again 3 times.
Yes, okay, we will do that.
Yeah, please. Just please contemplate, contemplate well and say it from your heart, this prayer.
So this is the Lion's font, page 4, this shorter text. Those of you who are in the temple, shorter text, page 4. May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings never be separated from the happiness that is free from suffering. May all sentient beings rest in great equanimity, free from the bias of attachment and aversion. May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be liberated from suffering, causes of suffering. May all sentient beings never be separated from their happiness and free from suffering. May all sentient beings rest in great equanimity, free from the bias of attachment and aversion. May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings never be separated from the happiness that is free from suffering. May all sentient beings rest in great equanimity, free from the bias of attachment and aversion.
Thank you so much. So please reflect on this. Just feel, may everybody have all the peace and happiness. May I have an ability to provide this opportunity to all. Just reflect. May everybody free from suffering. Because in the world you see how many people are suffering. So much. Animals, birds, sea mammals, they are tortured, they are killed, they are just exploded. We have no conscience about that, about their suffering. Just as now, as we are studying Buddha's teaching, we get more awareness, our mind become more sensitive. Just meditate, may they all free from suffering. And right now, we individually have no ability to help sentient beings. We have no wisdom. We have no skill. So next, the fourth contributory cause is to take refuge in the Buddha Dhamma Sangha. See? So here we have, until I attain the heart of Buddha, until I attain the heart of enlightenment, I take refuge in the Buddha. See? Buddha, not just physical, the picture or statue of the Buddha. Here, Bodhi is the mind, Buddha's wisdom, Dhammakaya. That's the Buddha. No. Anybody who achieves that state is Buddha. So we take refuge in the world, in the samsara, in the wrong direction. We take refuge to our own desire, attachment. When attachment comes in the mind, we follow with that. When the aversion, anger comes, we take refuge in that. We follow the advice of our anger advised of our attachment. That's why there's no way we can free from the suffering. In our whole life, how much we worked hard. There's no one day say, now I'm free from all the suffering. There's no one day say, now I have done, I got everything. Just suffering continues because we took the wrong refuge. So here we take refuge in the Buddha, the enlightened one. Then take refuge in Dharma means Dharma is the method, the path, how to become Buddha. So I take refuge in the Dharma. Then I take refuge in the Sangha, means Sangha is, you see, the example of the great practitioners. I don't know how to practice Dharma, so I have to take a good example. Great Bodhisattvas who are practicing successfully, more productively, we're taking refuge in the Sangha. So it's called taking refuge in the Buddha Dharma Sangha. This is the foundation. What that means is avoiding all the non-virtues, including 10 non-virtues. So please look at the list of the word. What are the 10 non-virtues? Avoid. Those are cause of suffering. And follow and practice the 10 virtues. So look at the list of those and we practice them. That's called taking refuge in the Dharma and the Sangha. See, Sangha is a community who follow the right path towards the enlightenment, who's not following the wrong path. You see, so it's the Dharma, it's the Sangha. So this is called taking refuge in the Buddha Dharma Sangha. See, refuge is very important. No? And that's also create the 3 trainings, you see. The training of the Shila, training of the morality. The moral ethics are very important. You see, sometimes we say, I need a moral support. When you're doing good things, so if somebody appreciates you, or you are doing good thing, wonderful, it inspires you, it helps you to do better. No, so we need says those who keeps the moral ethics. Moral, everybody knows. No, the morality is such an important in the world. You see, person who tells lie, cheats other, we don't see them as who has a good moral. No. Nobody likes, no. So a person who tells lie all the time and exploiting and bringing the confusion, suffering. No. People like who is kind, as mentioned, who has a courage, good example. So that's the Buddha is the highest example. And to follow, to become Buddha, then Dharma, the wisdom of the Buddha. Dharma is the wisdom of Buddha. That what we study, that what we practice, that we have to realize. That's the Dharma. So this morality, first important. Then next is the training of the shamatha, samadhi, calm abiding. We need to calm the mind, need to relax the mind in the right place. When your mind is more relaxed, clear, there is great peace. When the mind is so busy, there's no relaxation, there's no peace. So mind can relax on the basis of the ground of the moral, good ethics. When the mind is clear, then there is a great insight, the training of the prajna. So these three trainings are so important in this. See, so Sangha is moral ethics. The Dharma is shamatha, the calm abiding state. And the Buddha is a special insight, who has the complete insight. So all this need to become together. It's called, we're taking refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. It's the foundation to attain the Buddhahood. It's a cause, you see. It's not a Buddhism, but this is a cause. Like when you drive a car in a special distance, you need this three training. When you drive the car, you need such a discipline how to drive the car on the road, you see. You need a discipline, you see. It's moral. Then when you drive, you need the clear mind, calm the mind. You know where you are driving, you know. See, if your mind is disturbed, then your car will, you throw here, there. So you need that shamatha when you drive the car. And then you need the special insight to approach to the destination. So, I'm now arriving to the place that I'm going to drive. So you see, these three trainings you need is not just a religious training. It is a crucial method, course. When you drive the car, you need this training. A special chef who's cooking need also this three training. See, when you're writing, also you need these three training. See, it's not just Buddhism, it's a course that requires to free from samsara, to achieve enlightenment. Especially to free from samsara is not something easy, you see. How many people in this world and how many who understood this? Very few. Even within Buddhists, not many, you see. There's so many Buddhists who are chanting mantras, they don't know, and doing some meditations, but they don't know real what those are three trainings. They may know the name of the three trainings, but how they are practiced is also not easy to know. So here we have to have that understanding. So please don't see this as, oh, this is a Buddhist way. It's not a Buddhist way. It is the way how Buddha taught to free from suffering, that what we don't desire, to achieve the ultimate peace and happiness, that what we desire for. So that's called taking refuge. So, Dorjulava, you want to say this prayer?
Yes, so we'll say this now. Page 5 from the Lion's Fountain, that text, page 5. Until I attain the heart of Bodhi, I take refuge in the Buddhas, I take refuge in the Dharma, and likewise in the assembly of Bodhisattvas. Until I attain the heart of Bodhi, I take refuge in the Buddhas, I take refuge in the Dharma, and likewise in the assembly of Bodhisattvas. Until I attain the heart of Bodhi, I take refuge in the Buddhas, I take refuge in the Dharma, and likewise in the assembly of Bodhisattvas.
Thank you so much. Now, please relax your mind. So, I just briefly explained these 4 contributory causes to cultivate bodhicitta, the precious mind, the mind with the source of all the wisdom, excellent qualities. You see, this is the journey of the mind, our mental journey. As mentioned, the mind is very complex, it's unfathomable, it's so profound, vast. So we need all this causes condition to cultivate the mind. Now, as we know, to have all the peace and happiness is the Buddhahood. Buddhahood is not outside, somewhere. It's within. We just need to reflect on this. Just as I mentioned, our confused mind, that we're looking into samsara for peace and happiness. We go to all the different places. In the summer, we go to the mountain. In the winter, we go to the ocean to find real peace and happiness. Or maybe some other countries, some other places. Sometimes we go to Bodh Gaya, where Buddha attained enlightenment. Maybe I can achieve something, but in reality, you cannot find real peace and happiness. Even in Bodh Gaya, you go, where Buddha was enlightened, it's full of dust. You see, you have to wear the mask, otherwise you get the flu there. So it's a Buddhahood is in your heart. So that's where now next, the actual cultivating the bodhicitta. So how to cultivate bodhicitta? First, there's an example, and then the actual cultivation of the mind. First example is, you see, just as Sugatas of the past have brought forth body-mind. See this, first, take the examples of the Buddhas of the past, like the Buddha Shakyamuni that we know, our historical Buddha, medicine Buddha, Buddha Amitabha, which are popular, Tara, white Tara, green Tara, Chenresi, you see, all those, all these past great Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, see, they have first cultivated bodhicitta. So I will attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings, meditated there. No? And then progressively observe and trained in the precepts of the Bodhisattvas. Means before they become Buddha, Buddha Shakyamuni before he become Buddha, Medicine Buddha, Buddha Amitabha, so forth, before they become Buddha, first as an ordinary person, they got opportunity to study, practice Buddha's teaching. And then they cultivated bodhicitta. For the benefit of all sentient beings, now I cultivate bodhicitta. And then they progressively observed and trained, means they practice, as mentioned, the three trainings. The training of the morality, all the cause of suffering are avoided. Train in that. All the cause for peace and happiness, they adopted that, and then they train, practice that, step by step. No moral ethics, and then they have karma abided. Made such great samadhi practice. Eventually, then they practice the special insight, Sakdung, Vipassana, trained. See, and they did this step by step, not in an instant. Everything grows step by step. Like if you plant a small tree, the tree starts first from the ground, seedling, step by step, it becomes a big tree. That small tree cannot become a big tree in one instant. So we, like a small tree, we now practice and pouring the water and taking care of that and grow slowly a big tree. So we are also like that. We are just small. But we start from there, step by step, and then go through the 5 paths, the path of accumulation, path of preparation, and a special path, and then meditation, part of the meditation, and then perfection of the meditation, step by step, and they become Buddha. And they benefited so many sentient beings, you see. Which, as I mentioned, imagine how much great benefit they brought Buddha Shakyamuni on this planet. For years after years, for centuries and centuries. Those who was desperate, they became Buddha by practicing. Just for example, you know Milarepa. His whole family was tortured by their uncles and aunts. And he was desperate. But finally he met Buddha's teaching, especially the Buddha's teaching that Marpa brought from India to Tibet. He met the Marpa, and under the Marpa's guidance, it was harsh, but such a great, kind, compassionate, and gave all the instruction to Milarepa, and Milarepa made the history. It's because the Buddha's wisdom. See, Marpa didn't teach anything special, but complete teachings of the Buddha. And still now, over 1,000 years, Milarepa is such a clear picture in the Buddhist world. So Milarepa said this, Milarepa done this, and it gives us such great comfort, peace. That's the wisdom of the Buddha, the compassion of the Buddha taught those teachings. So these the example of the past. Look at this. We should inspire this. This is what is taught, how to inspire, how to practice Dharma productively without declining. No. Without flinching. No. Without going backwards, but go forwards, and we can make it because we're Buddha nature. See, so by taking that example, then you say, likewise, for the benefit of wandering beings, you see, as earlier mentioned, the sentient beings are wandering in the samsara, in the hell realm, in the hungry ghost, and the animal. So animal realm itself has the animal realm, the hungry ghost, and the hell realm. The animals, they are so tortured like a hell realm. Look at this suffering. We human beings in the world, look all those continents. Look at the different continents in this world. How many they are suffering. Also in the human realm, we have the 6 realms. In the human realm, there's a suffering of hell realm, hungry ghosts, animals, demigods, and gardens. Some have such a luxurious life. It's like a god realm, but it's not permanent. Look at these. But they're all just wandering in this life, bewildered within this, the joy of this life, attachment of this life, and they're never free from suffering. So look at it, no? So look at this. So for the benefit of all these wandering beings, see, I will give birth, give rise, give birth to bodhicitta. Means I will cultivate bodhicitta. Now, means I will cultivate bodhicitta to attain the Buddhahood, enlightenment, to perfect my mind. Our goal is the perfection, to realize the perfection of our mind. So meditate on this, you see. My natural mind itself is perfected by itself. But as mentioned, our mind, the perfect mind is surrounded by the confusion. And we suffer without benefit. Without Dharma, no matter how much you suffer, just only suffering. It doesn't do any good. We suffer, we create the cause of suffering. We suffer, we create the cause of suffering. It's a vicious cycle, you know. So when you have Dharma, it means wisdom, then you see the suffering. you see the cause of suffering. And then we make effort to, we make the effort to uplift the cause of suffering. We uproot the existence of the cause of suffering. That our first hour is called the bodhicitta, the enlightened mind of aspiration. We aspire to attain Buddhahood. Sometimes we look outside, Buddha outside there. I want to attain Buddhahood out there, but it's within. I want to realize my perfect mind, my perfect nature of the mind. This aspiration to free from all the suffering of myself and all sentient beings. Then see, and will observe and train. See, here this, you see, observe and train. This is training, the training of the 6 paramitas. See, practice of generosity, moral ethics, patience, perseverance, and samadhi, wisdom, awareness, prajna. Through this method, we can make our mind perfect or realize the perfection of the mind. So practice of generosity, that's the Buddhist way of how to bring the economy in the world. Not deluding others, not taking from others. Rather, you share what you have. Generosity. See. And you're saying, giving is receiving. It's the causality. You give and you receive. I believe that, you see. More you sacrifice, more you give, and more you receive. This is the Buddhist practice of how to create the economy in the world. Share everybody. It's called sharing. It's mind free from the pernicious attachment. So then, moral ethics, as I mentioned before, and patience, especially related to our mental afflictions of the aversion, anger. Of course, of all mental afflictions, we need to purify. But anger is sometimes very destructive. You see, nowadays you see, because of the technologies, life becomes so hectic. And then people are very easy to agitate, and then manifest the anger so easily, and then just, kill people out of frustration, out of anger. See, so we need this kind of practice of love and kindness, compassion, courage, tolerance. These things is called practice of patience, means strength. Sometimes called forbearance. You bear the difficulties to purify. So we need this kind of wisdom to everybody. It's not just for Buddhists, for everybody in the world. Because everybody, they want peace and happiness, you see. So without the training of the mind, outside the laws, there are a lot of laws. Now and then one day you cannot drive because there are a lot of laws. But if you train the mind, how to bring peace, real peace, it's not just, philosophy. It is the practical approach, method to relax the mind. Calm, practice of patience, forbearance. And then perseverance means we need courage, a joyous effort. You see this calm. We practice the Dharma teaching joyfully. Because Dharma practice, nobody can force you. But individually, have to show your interest, your responsibilities, and make effort to purify the mind, to develop the wisdom. It's called perseverance, joyous effort. Then next you see meditative concentration. We concentrate, relax, not just very rigid way, but relax the mind. Awareness to achieve the freedom of the mind. You see how your mind is free. Sometimes we are so become rigid and then confined in the cocoon of the self-grasping and no peace. We just need such a spacious mind, relax. Then there's a possibility, the wisdom, awareness, means special insight. Realizing everything is nothing but manifestation. Everything is nothing but manifestation of emptiness. They manifest from emptiness, they dissolve into emptiness. This way is called, will observe and train. So you observe those, you train the mind this way. So that is what is called the action bodhicitta. So there's an aspiration bodhicitta, you aspire to attain the Buddhahood. I will attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings, you see. And that you just feel so privileged. You feel so joyful. What a great thing. Then how to attain Buddhahood? So through these 6 perfections, as I explained briefly, meditate on this, train the mind in that way. See, this way, it's called progressively in its precepts. We follow the path step by step this way. Now, here in front of Buddha, I explain in English briefly. Now we look at the Buddha and we take the Bodhisattva vow. Repeat this in Tibetan 3 times. just follow me, okay? Can you do that? Are you ready? Oh,
Yes.
that's wonderful. Now first relax your body, your mind, and first feel such a great joyful. No, I have this precious human life. Because of this precious human life, I have this opportunity. And this is the way how to awaken my Buddha nature. And today I will do this. So we'll repeat this 3 times. So first, just now we'll do this in Tibetan, okay? Chidarangonji,
Jitarangonji,
Desheki,
Desheki,
Chanju Tuni,
Chanchu Tugni,
Yeba Dang,
Keba Dang,
Chanju Sembe,
Chanchu Sempe,
Laba La, Deda Rimshin,
Deda Rinshin,
Neba Dar,
Nepa Tar,
Yishin Dola,
Dijin Rola,
Pendun Do,
Pendon Du,
Chanju Semni,
Chanchu Semni,
Yeji Shin,
Keki Shin,
Yishin Duni,
Dijin Duni,
Laba La,
Lapa La,
Rimba Shindo,
Rimpa Shindu,
Labara Ki.
Lapar Gi.
And now first. Now second, we'll repeat second time. Now meditate on the English translation and then say, now I'm really taking the Bodhisattva vow today in front of Buddha. So you have to focus on the Buddha. No, I will now I'm taking this Bodhisattva vow from the Buddha. Buddha is not as a picture, a statue, but fresh, alive. From that, I'm taking the Bodhisattva vow. So we'll repeat second time. Chitarangonji,
Jitarangonji,
Desheki,
Desheki,
Chanjo Tone,
Chanchu Tugni,
Jeba Dang,
Keba Dang,
Chanjo Sembe,
Chanchu Sembe,
Laba La,
Lapa La,
Yada Rimshin,
Deda Rinshin,
Neba Dar,
Nepa Tar,
Yishin Dola,
Dijin Rola,
Pendun Do,
Pendon Du,
Chanjo Semni,
Chanchu Semni,
Yeji Shin,
Keki Shin,
Yishin Duni,
Deshin Duni,
Laba La,
Lapa La,
Rimba Shindo,
Rimpa Shindu,
Labara Ki.
Lapar Gi.
Now third. So at the third, end of the third, you fully meditate. Today in front of the Buddha, I have cultivated bodhicitta and I received Bodhisattva's vow. With this kind of feeling of the mind, please repeat the third recitation. Chitarangonji,
Jitarangonji,
Desheki,
Desheki,
Chanjo Tune,
Chanchu Tugni,
Jeba Dang,
Keba Dang,
Chanjo Sembe,
Chanchu Sembe,
Laba La,
Lapa La,
Yada Rimshin,
Deda Rinshin,
Neba Dar,
Nepar Tar,
Yishin Dola,
Deshin Rola,
Pendun Do,
Pendon Du,
Chanjo Semni,
Chanchu Semni,
Yeji Shin,
Keki Shin,
Yishin Duni,
Deshin Duni,
Laba La,
Lapa La,
Rimba Shindo,
Rimpa Shindu,
Labara Ki.
Lapar Gi.
Now, when I snapping the finger top, please say Lexo. Said that I received Bodhisattva's vow. Oh, Taviano.
Lexo.
Now next, Please meditate the Buddha, what you have visualized, dissolve into you from your crown and pervade your entire body, speech, mind. All your ordinary sense of the body, speech, mind dissolve into emptiness and received all the Buddha's wisdom and achieve the Buddha's bodhicitta, and meditate the mind as a space free from all the boundary. So please do this meditation now. Buddha dissolve into light. That light dissolve into you and pervade your entire body from the crown of the head. And please meditate all our ordinary body, mind. Ordinary means the adventitious obscurations. This all dissolve into emptiness. And meditate mind as the space, unfabricated nature. The past is past, not here. Future is not here yet. Now this moment is so momentary and just nothing but empty. So meditate that mind of the freedom, total freedom of the mind. Just meditate for a few moments. Now just as a glimpse, this is what's called ultimate bodhicitta. See, so today we got opportunity to cultivate aspiration bodhicitta, action bodhicitta, and now ultimate bodhicitta. See, that's your mind. See, when the mind is free from all these dualistic thoughts, there's a great peace. That peace is uncontrived peace. Means it's just your nature of the mind. See, that's your nature of the mind. Buddha has not created your mind. Nobody has created your mind. But we lost our mind in this dualistic jungle of the confusion. As I mentioned, we are totally besotted with our confusion in the samsara for a long time. Now today we got opportunity how to reveal who you are as yourself. See, rejoice, appreciate. That's what's called precious human life you have. Animals that don't have this kind of opportunity, even though they are maybe very smart. Sometimes we think animals are meditating. Maybe they're doing meditation. Who knows? But we don't know. But now we know ourselves who has this opportunity. See. Now to continue this practice, there are three at the conclusion. So the four contributory course as a prerequisite and the main practice of the cultivation of bodhicitta. And the conclusion is first rejoice yourself. It's very important to rejoice, to uplift yourself. It's not something, sometimes people say Buddhists are so negative. First, they will tell you suffering, 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 suffering. Then they'll tell you everything's impermanent, impermanent. And then they will tell you everything's illusion. And then at the end, they will tell you everything's empty, you know. It's so negative, they say. It's not that really, you know. Here he's saying now here, now my life has become fruitful. Means I have the precious human life that brought a great fruit, great result, great benefit. No? How this human state has been well attained. See, that today I am born in the Buddha's spiritual descent. Now I have now become an heir to the Buddha. Means I become Bodhisattva. So now who keep this Bodhisattva's vow, or who keep this bodhicitta, now those who keep this bodhicitta, then you can call you a Bodhisattva. But if you don't keep them, the aspiration bodhicitta, action bodhicitta, ultimate bodhicitta, if you don't keep them, just mere taking the Bodhisattva's vow, not necessarily you are Bodhisattva. But if you keep them, then you are Bodhisattva. See. It's called ordinary Bodhisattva. You see, we are not enlightened yet, you know. But good start. That's how we start from there. So appreciate, rejoice yourself. Nowadays, when you see teachers who are going around, this is a great Bodhisattvas, we receive their blessing, we ask their blessing, you know, can you touch my head, you know, like these things? Because they say they are Bodhisattva. Now, no longer outside, it's within you. You have this opportunity. So I cultivate bodhicitta. Now I am born in the Buddha's family. I belong to the Bodhisattva family. What a precious. So rejoice. It's like a blind person finding the jewel from a street. A blind person walking on the street and find a jewel is so precious. So we are blind in the samsara. But today, now, we got opportunity to cultivate bodhicitta. We repeat this again and again. No? Then next said here, is dishonor the family, your Bodhisattva's family. Dishonor the bodhicitta. Here he said, from now on, I will in every way undertake actions benefiting this, befitting this spiritual family, and I will not be a stain on this faultless, noble family. Means now, no matter what happened here, I will perform all my activities physically, mentally, according to the Bodhisattva's path. See, no matter what, I will perform according to the Bodhisattva's practice, basically. Because this is faultless saint family. The Buddha, the Buddha family means Buddha and great Bodhisattvas is free from all this faults, confusion, mental afflictions. See, I will never dishonor. See, I will never stand. I will try all my best practice. So it's this practice of the 6 parameters here. Practice generosity, practice the moral ethics, practice the patience, perseverance, meditative concentration, samadhi, and wisdom, awareness, prajna. All this I practice step by step, purify, and realize emptiness. Emptiness, as I mentioned, is not a Buddhist philosophy. It's the philosophy of the whole phenomena, whole universe. See, everything is functions within the emptiness. Look at your mind, all the thoughts, they're coming from emptiness and dissolve to the emptiness. But we bewildered, we entangled within this confusion and makes the suffering, makes the samsara. So we purify this, meditate on this. You do all the good things what you can to your family, to your friends, but release the attachment. Attachment doesn't do any good. It makes only suffering, more suffering to yourself, to others. Sometimes people say, no attachment means don't care. No, it's not that mistake. They're two different things. You care out of love, out of compassion. No, you care all what you can. But attachment doesn't do any good. It's kind of like craving. It's just possessive and brings more suffering. So we know we don't need suffering. We don't need more cause of suffering. Release that and practice bodhicitta, especially when you come to the emptiness. You have to release all the grasping, all the dualistic craving. Purify all this. And next, to rejoice in other sentient beings. Today, in the front of the Buddha, Bodhisattvas, I took this Bodhisattva's vow. Here we have this, Today, in the presence of all the protectors, means Buddha, Bodhisattvas, who cares all sentient beings. You know that, you see, Buddha, sometimes we think Buddha cares the Buddhist, Yes. Oh, Buddha cares the Buddhist, not others. It is wrong. Buddha cares more other than Buddhist, you see. Buddha cares every sentient beings. We should understand that. Buddha has no any bias. Buddha transcended all the dualistic thoughts. So we meditate on this protector of all the sentient beings. Like say this world that we have now, Buddha concerns every sentient beings. So you see, in front of all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, I invite wandering beings to the Sugata state. Means I have cultivated bodhicitta to establish all the sentient beings to the Buddhahood. As we have cultivated aspiration bodhicitta, action bodhicitta, and ultimate bodhicitta, I have cultivated this mind to establish all sentient beings to the Buddhahood. You know? And until then, to every ease and joy, means before I become Buddha, I invited all sentient beings as my special guest. I invited all sentient beings as like, for the practice of generosity, for the practice of loving kindness, compassion, for the practice of the moral ethics, patience, see? I invited everyone as my special guest. So look at, see, when you have a friend, very dear friend, you invite as a guest, how you will treat your guest. You will treat your guests as something special. So all the sentient beings are special to practice bodhicitta. So I invited all sentient beings as special guests. You see, and so this you saying, may the gods, demigods, and others rejoice, means all the sentient beings in the hell realm, Holy Ghost, animals, human beings, demigods, including the gods, demigods, because gods are better off. They may think, we don't need help. we are good enough, But they are samsaric beings. They are not free from samsara. So we invite all sentient beings as my special guest, me to practice the bodhicitta. So what a precious mind this is, you see. This is a wisdom. There's no greater things than in the world that exist. Yes. Dr. Lulu, can I read some?
Yes.
Yeah, can I read some quotations from Nagarjuna's commentary of Bodhicitta?
Yes, please.
Okay. So even though our time is passing, but I thought there's some very nice quotations. I got this, There's one. Nagarjuna's commentary on the Bodhicitta is so precious, you see. The verse, this is 68. It says in Tibetan, now here, the importance of emptiness. We should realize slowly, maybe not everybody right now realize emptiness, but slowly we should meditate on the emptiness as well. The Heart Sutra is very popular. In the Heart Sutra, The form is emptiness. Emptiness is the form. Form is no other than emptiness, and emptiness is also no other than form, you see. So all the relative nature is the nature of the emptiness. So here, Nagarjuna says, the relative has been explained as emptiness. This conventional state, the relative state, all the phenomena that what you see, their nature is emptiness. See, and the voidness means the emptiness is itself the relative, you see. The emptiness itself is relative. Relative itself is emptiness. So form is emptiness and emptiness is the form, you see. Without the one, the other does not manifest. See, without emptiness, there's no basis to manifest all this relative state. Like say, without the space, there's no cloud. The cloud manifests from the space. Or you should say the waves of the ocean. Without the ocean, there's no wave. All the waves manifest from the ocean and dissolve into ocean. So look this, that's why everything is illusory nature. They come and go. They manifest, they dissolve into emptiness. So it's just like impermanence and composition. Without the composed phenomena, there's no impermanent. If I don't have this cup, I cannot say this cup is impermanent. Because I have this cup here that I see is composite. Composite phenomena is impermanent. So the composite phenomena in permanence are equal. So emptiness and the relative state are equal. We should realize that. Then what it does is all our mental fabrications, mental delusions, we can take care better. They are not so kind of cohesive. They are not so substantial. We will not so much entangled with that. See. Then, what is saying here? The relative derives from karma and defilement. The relative is coming from, manifest, the relative phenomena, that what we see, conventional state, is from our mental afflictions and the karma, the cause. And it is from the mind that karma manifests. Now, if you ask where the karma is come from outside, from previous lives, no, it's from the mind, the cause. Every second, every minute, you create karma, and there comes the cause, the result. That's what's called. And it is from the mind that karma manifests. You see, karma means cause. The mind is but meeting of habitual. So this our mind means samsaric mind, bewildered mind. It's the form of our habit, propensity. We are so attached to something, and that continues the habit of our attachment. Then we're craving. So that kind of mind is the form of the habituated mind. So the mind is but the meeting of habitual tendency. See. So then, and freedom from such tendency is bliss, you see. When we are free from this habit, by realizing first, say, everything's impermanent. Then slowly, slowly, everything's emptiness. Purify the habit. When this habit, this propensity, that inveterate propensity is purified, the mind is relaxed. This is bliss, you see. I think it's a very important point. The real Dharma practice, these are the Dharma practice, see, that we have to do. And we should feel so good about this, appreciate, rejoice. And next, here we have one. Now that talking about the bliss, you see, a blissful mind is peaceful itself. You see, the mind when it's free from all the attachment. See, from all mental, see, habitual manifestation, when these are purified, we have such a great shamatha. See, so that shamatha itself is a bliss. It's calm. It's not from outside, but we accumulated a method to relax the mind in that way. So a blissful mind is then itself is peaceful. Then that mind is such a great peace. No, that peace is come from nowhere, but mind itself is peaceful. See, then you see, a peaceful mind is not confused. So you see, that peaceful mind is free from the confusion, because it's not kind of entangled by any other negative thoughts. It's just where it is. So that you see. And unconfused is phantom suchness. See. So that unconfused mind is realized suchness, you see, the clear mind, unconfused mind, then see the nature of itself. It can penetrate itself. And that is, he said, assimilating suchness, it is free, you see. That realization is free from all the boundaries, samsara, nirvana. See, that's your mind. It's not Buddha's creation. It's not a Buddhism. It's your nature of the mind, uncontrived as it is, you see. Then next, I have, so here's one, the importance of the realization of emptiness, you see. I think it's very important. Verse 72. Those who have no grasp of emptiness means those who doesn't know what emptiness is about. lack the basis for their liberation. They have no way how to free from samsara. Because this very relative state, conventional nature itself, is emptiness. If we don't realize that emptiness, we are totally entangled from the right to the wrong, happiness to the suffering, cannot free from dualistic state. So when you realize the emptiness, it is all just manifestation of the emptiness, and you are free from samsara. So it's saying, those who have no grasp of means, who have no realization of emptiness, lack the basis for their liberation free from samsara. So being who are thus confused will wander in the sixth wall in the prison of existence, you see. So without realization of the emptiness, then we keep wandering in the samsara, no matter what we do. It doesn't make difference, Buddhist or non-Buddhist. Even Buddhist, if you don't realize emptiness, we're still in the samsara. See, this is the method how to free from samsara. See. So then, I think this 73 verse, when yogis meditate upon this emptiness, so the yogi means the practitioner. You know, the yogi, yoga. Here, yoga means the uncontrived nature. Yoga. And yogi or yogins, the practitioner of that. So the yogis meditate upon the emptiness, unfabricated nature of emptiness. Then you see, there is no doubt that there will rise in them a longing for the benefit of others. You see, this emptiness is not just mere empty, not just negating empty. We are not making this empty, but we have to realize how everything functions within the emptiness. So that great practitioner who realizes the emptiness as it is, then will have such a great compassion, such a great longing others to free from suffering. That's called unfabricated compassion, non-referential compassion that give rise from the realization of the emptiness. See? So these are some, still I have few other, maybe. Should I read?
I think Rinpoche getting late in Asia.
Oh, doesn't matter. They can sacrifice some.
But you can read, yes.
They can sacrifice. Where's I lost. Oh, sorry, yeah. Asia. Oh, here. Now this causality is very important. Causality, you see. Sometimes we Dhamma practitioners, sometimes we say, oh, Naga influenced this, or that demigod influenced that, this problem is that, this. We have all these speculations, Now here is very important, this result, desire, and undesires, means those who desire for peace and happiness and desire to free from suffering. That result is in good or evil state with this world. Good means virtue. All our desire for peace and happiness come from the virtue. And all the sufferings come from the non-virtue. See. Now, how that cause is created. See. All these drive from the action, good or evil, that have been done to other beings. You see, relate to the sentient beings. When you have done something bad things or non-virtuous action to the sentient beings, the result is suffering. When you have done something good for the sentient beings, the result is virtue, peace and happiness. See, all relate to the sentient beings. This completely related to our body, now practice of bodhicitta. See, within the framework of the bodhicitta, if we practice the bodhicitta accordingly, helping others, purifying our all mental negativities, the result is nothing but good. All the negative thoughts that we have related to the other sentient beings, this brings the suffering. It's strictly talking about the causality. See, so I want to share that, Then let me see. I won't read too much. So those who have bodhicitta, she said, now anyway, they cultivated bodhicitta, they will sacrifice their own peace and happiness, bodhisattvas. They will help others. They don't hesitate to help others. The power of the bodhicitta. Then, so this, how the verse 87, how wonderful this is, how worthy to be praised, those who have bodhicitta. This is the supreme holy way, cultivating bodhicitta. Practicing bodhicitta is the only holy way, and yet it is not at all remarkable to give away one's body or one's wealth. You see, sometimes you say, this great teacher, he gave all his wealth, he sacrificed his body. That is nothing, because his whole being is dedicated for other sentient beings' benefit. Is something I say very, very precious. And so I'm very excited, Now here, this is a very important one, the verse 1:6. Aside from bodhicitta, there's no other means within the world with which to gain the benefit of others and oneself. No other method have the Buddhas seen, you see. If we, ourselves and all sentient beings, if we want to free from samsara, attain the Buddhahood, it's the bodhicitta. See, bodhicitta alone is the method we can free from samsara. Buddha have not found any method, sentient beings, to benefit and to free from samsara without the bodhicitta. So please keep this in your heart. Really, I find it's such a precious, and then benefit of the cultivating bodhicitta. By simply generating the awakened minds, cultivating bodhicitta, so great a mass of merit is produced. Such an amount of great merit is produced that if it were possessed of solid form, if it is a form to see, then it would fill up the whole of space, and still there would be more. This whole space, the universe, cannot fit the form, the merit of the bodhicitta cultivation. So please rejoice this. Say, I have cultivated this mind. There's no greater method to accumulate merit than practice the bodhicitta. Please meditate on this. Okay, please. So he said, and one who meditated on bodhicitta, even for a single instant, gains such quantity of merit, even Buddha cannot measure it, you see. When you cultivate bodhicitta, practice the bodhicitta, the merit you have accumulated, even Buddha cannot measure. It's limitless. So this Nagarjuna is saying, it's not I'm saying, it's not somebody saying, but Nagarjuna, the second Buddha, is saying this. I don't think he will kind of deceive us. I hope not, So please, those who are practicing Dharma for many years now, reinforce, convince bodhicitta is the one that we now can benefit ourselves by practicing bodhicitta and can benefit others. Not necessarily all this during this lifetime, but life after life, then eventually Buddhahood is guaranteed. Okay, this is a few words that I selected from Nagarjuna's writing the commentary of the Bodhicitta. Okay, now Dorje, thank you so much.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Now, whatever conclusion now you have, please, you lead.
So maybe we will just recite the end of the text, the cultivating joy in oneself, promising not to forsake the spiritual family, and cultivating joy in others. So if you have the Lion Fountain text, it's on page 8. Some of you online also have been sent this text. So we will just say those words there, and then after that, we will chant the Bodhicitta dedication. But first, we will do this starting on page 8. So at the end of each verse, if you have flower petals to offer, you can offer them to the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas, and offer them to each other, new Bodhisattvas that have been born today. Now my life has become fruitful, this human state has been well attained. Today I am born into the Buddha's spiritual descent. I have now become an heir to the Buddhas. From now on, I will in every way undertake actions befitting the spiritual family, and I will not be a stain on this faultless noble family. Today, in the presence of all the protectors, I invite wandering beings to the Sugata state, and until then, to every ease and joy. May the gods, demigods, and others rejoice. So just on behalf of everyone, I just made frustrations with Khenchen Rinpoche for being the preceptor for today's Bodhisattva Vow generation. We are most fortunate to have you, an example of Bodhisattva, to help us generate Bodhisattva and to reaffirm our Bodhisattva Vow. So I now, again, on behalf of everyone, make a symbolic Saga offering. And for those of you who have registered, you know that there was a link. If you want to offer some offerings to Rinpoche as a token of your appreciation, you can go to that link, and then the center closest to where Rinpoche now resides, they will make sure that those offerings get sent to Rinpoche. And as you all know, Rinpoche's resources are all frequently given away. So it said that if we channel our acts of virtue through teachers, then these acts of virtue further multiply, very beneficial. So I know personally Rinpoche's resources are constantly being distributed to places that are needed, to the point that sometimes secretly we try to hide some of its resources. Of course, Rinpoche trusts karma completely. Maybe some of us still not sure about that. So we try to hide some of Rinpoche's money so that he doesn't give all of them away. So anyway, those of you who want to, you can go to the link and send that off to Rinpoche. We will not steal from Rinpoche, but sometimes we have to hide some of his money so that he doesn't give them all away. Again, Rinpoche, thank you so much for this. And please continue to turn the wheel of Dharma for the benefit of beings. Please take care of your health, because that is the basis of your ability to turn the wheel of Dharma for us. And for everyone who has participated in today's program, please stay tuned as we announce the next set of teachings, programs that Rinpoche will be doing and made available through Zoom. We are working through some of these details. So thank you so much again. Thank you, Rinpoche. Thank you to all the interpreters today that have been doing simultaneous interpretation into Chinese, into Russian, into Spanish, and into Vietnamese. Thank you so much. So now we're going to allow everyone to unmute yourself. If you want to say a brief, quick thank you to Rinpoche, just go ahead once we have made it possible for you to unmute.
Gracias.